amigos, and welcome to the first episode of NFL Bell with your favorite two hosts, LouBetya, Uncle Lou, and Wiz. We're going to be breaking down all of the NFL matchups for this week, and it's going to be a weekly thing, so you can expect us here every week at 3:30 Eastern. Lou, handing it off to you.
The people don't see the work that you, I, and Gordo do behind the scenes, and you and I every day about basketball, workshop and stuff. Just at least soundboarding off each other. So now people get at least a little bit of a view with that in us in a totally different sport than they're used to. With you, it's both of us, it's MMA, me soccer more, you baseball, Nerfy King. So now they get to see us attack a whole different sport that you and I have both had some pretty good success on so far this season.
Yeah, this past NFL season, I don't think I've had a losing week, although this week was really close to it. Ended up a unit and like a couple of fractions of a unit. So happy about that.
I have one bad week, and it was week 1.
Okay, yeah, that's normal. That's normal for most people. So let's go ahead and bring the odds up on the screen. We're gonna break them down matchup by matchup from today's matchup all the way up until the Monday Night Football game. So first matchup we have is tonight, Saints at the Cardinals. Right now, I believe the line is at 2.5, favoring the Cardinals. Lou, why don't you start us off here?
Try to make that screen a little bigger. I don't know what to do with the side here or even the total. I want to lean over here. There's a few reasons I like it. I do like that Hopkins is back for Arizona. Lattimore is out for New Orleans. So I have taken all the Hopkins props tonight. I just think that they are going to try early and often to get him into this game. His catch total is reasonable. His yardage is like 60, which I think is reasonable. Anytime touchdown is plus 130 on my book, which is reasonable. And I like the Taysom Hill props as well. His rushing total, you can find it at 29.5 is minus 150, and which is not bad. But anytime touchdown for him is like plus 150. And it's crazy because Kamara has no touchdowns this year because Taysom Hill is their red zone package now. And he's unstoppable. Like inside the 10-yard line, he comes in the game. They literally know what they're going to call. The defense calls punt block because they know what the play is. And he still gets through the line and runs for 10, 20 yards. So he's been doing it all year. There's no reason to get off. There's no reason to get off this train. A 2-team parlay with Hopkins and Taysom Hill to score is plus 525. I love that. If you add their yardage totals, you can get it at about plus 1,200. I love that too. As far as the side, it's weird. You could play the Saints first half because the Saints have been falling apart late in games. And honestly, since the first couple of drives are scripted, I think Cliff Kingsbury is terrible at scripting drives because Arizona never look good in the first half. So I would trust New Orleans more if you like them to take them first half than their inevitable collapse or Hopkins to catch some 84-yard touchdown in the third quarter with like 13 minutes left in the quarter where you're like, shit. Like I just lost my Saints bet. So I would lean Saints first half, but I really like the prop market of the Hopkins props and the Taysom Hill props more than anything else tonight.
Yeah, and one thing that makes me like the Hopkins props even more today is that there's no Hollywood Brown.
You just got a goal, by the way. 1-0 Leicester.
Let's go! I'm behind on like a minute on the stream. Let's go!
I don't know if you're. Hey man, I'm just happy to break the good.
Yeah, for those that don't know, I'm on a over 2.5 Leicester and Leeds goal total. So if you see me celebrate, it's because of that. But going back to this, Hopkins should be the beneficiary of increased targets and red zone targets just because Marquise Hollywood Brown is out, who has been the top target for Kyler Murray, even though he hasn't looked all that well this year. On this, like for a side, I've been flip-flopping, to be completely honest, so I might be completely off of the side. But early on in the week, I really like the Saints just because that performance against the Bengals, although they lost, it was pretty impressive, the way they were able to move the ball. And this was still without Michael Thomas, who still will be out today. And then I believe they had Lattimore out last game as well.
Olave's back in today.
Yeah, Olave's back in, so that's a plus. And I like how Kamara was able to continuously get fed the ball, and he had like 26 attempts last week. So a sneaky prop that I like is over on his rushing attempts. I know on some websites I've seen it around like 15 and a half, which is just robbery. To be honest, I'm not sure if they increased that, but his rushing attempts is a good look if it's still at that 15 and a half. Yeah, that's robbery against the Cardinals offense, who just cannot stop anything. So I'm probably going to be on that myself. And total, speaking for totals, I do like the under. I think both offenses are kind of meh, more on the Cardinal side where they're just not able to score. They've been ass, for a lack of better
Do you
words.
think the Bengals defense is terrible? Because I mean, I kind of do. So I think that inflates. Like the Saints
Yeah,
scored a lot of points with nobody last week.
yeah, I do think the Bengals defense is terrible, but I also think the Cardinals defense is even worse. To be honest, even worse in the rushing department. So one big hole opens up, you're going to see Alvin Kamara getting a 50-yard touchdown left and right. So that's the one reason why I'm leaning a little bit more towards the Saints, but this is a must win for the Cardinals as well.
This is
They
a
they
must win for
desperately,
Kingsbury.
this is a must win for Kingsbury, or else he might be losing his job.
He
I'm
actually
surprised the
said
Denver Broncos haven't fired their coach yet.
he came out and said that he'd be willing to relieve himself of the play calling duties to give him to an offensive coordinator.
That's
So,
what should be happening. That's what should be happening. He's
well, when you
terrible.
come in and you're a hot shot guy that coached at Texas Tech, everybody assumes it's like, yeah, dude, you lose games 70-63. Like every game in the Big 12 is like that with that team. So I don't know. Like you're beating up like Kansas. I mean, the Kansas of like a few years ago, not Kansas today, but like you beating up these teams 58-0. Like it does not make you a good coordinator. Like does not make you a good play caller. Like you're better at every position on the field. Like it doesn't make you a good play caller.
And the player that, in my opinion, took the biggest step down is Kyler Murray this year. He's a shell of himself. He does not look the same. He can't throw accurately. He can't throw. His best option is just running the ball himself. And even then, the teams are starting to figure that out. So I'm probably going to be laying off a side. I like the touchdown for Taysom Hill. I like the touchdown for Hopkins and the rushing attempts for um, Galvin Kamara. Any other thoughts on this game, Lou?
Nope.
Cool.
Hopefully it's not 9-3. Like, well, I mean, obviously for the touchdown props. And Mushroom, I like the Hill yardage, not the attempts,
Yeah.
because he's averaging like anywhere between 5 and 10 attempts a game. But like, it just depends on the game script, really. Like, it depends on how it's going. But he doesn't need more than five attempts could get him 30. I think he's averaging 8 yards a carry. So it's, it hit 112 on 8 against Seattle.
The man's built like a brick.
I don't know if that number is exact, but it's close to that. Like he had less than 10 carries and he got over 100 yards. So
Yeah. Yeah, he can do that. He can break out for these 50-yard runs like cake.
I
But
got
next game we have going on is the Giants, our Giants
the
at the Jaguars. Cleveland.
G-Man.
For those who didn't know, me and Lou are both New York Giants supporters, and
Yeah,
oddly enough, I live in California and Lou's in Philly, so
I
don't know
did
how
grow
that
up in
happened.
I did grow up in New York.
Okay, okay. I just a fan by association of Odell Beckham Jr. when he first started off there, so I've been riding him since. So we have the Jaguars laying 3 in this matchup, 3.5. Line just creeped up today. Lou, what do you have here?
Yeah, I'm looking at scores and odds right now. So there's really no movement according to them. I mean, I know it just went to 3.5, but it doesn't look like there's any movement on the total or the game line. So we talked about this before the show. I'm going to lay off all props here. Anything you want to do with Barkley, I'm sure you're going to get to that because I know he's your boy. And I love Saquon Barkley. But I'm just going to give the interesting trend that I found that I think is crazy. The Giants this year have not been great in the first half. Oh, suck it, Mushroom. Boo.
Love you, Mushroom,
But
but
the Giants are 6-0 money line in the second half of games. They've been digging in their heels and been coming back. Defense is playing a lot better. Jones makes less mistakes. They don't abandon the run with Barkley. I mean, they can't with this receiving core. Like they really can't. Like I know we got some Tony's still out. So we got
Robinson's back.
what's that?
Wandale Robinson, our rookie.
Wandale Robinson is back, which is massive because Slayton's not bad and it gives Slayton some room to run. They're using Bellinger more, but
Mhm.
still, this offense only goes as far as Barkley takes them and Daniel Jones limiting mistakes. The thing is he's been really good in the second half of these games, and 6-0 against, not against the number, 6-0 money line in every game this year. They have won the second half. It's plus 105 on DraftKings Sportsbook, which I will find in a second. I believe it is plus 105 still. Plus 110, even better. Uh, in a game that's going to play out one of two ways. If it's close, I think if it's close at the half, the Giants will have them right where they want them and win. Or if they're getting blown out, if Lawrence is just beasting it, I can see them just going very run heavy and conservative in the second half of this games. Doug Peterson does have a tendency to do that as a coach. I could see him going heavy. And the Giants they maybe score 7-10 points second half. That's all they need to win the half. So Giants second half plus 110 is my play here.
Okay. Just a couple of
Little
things.
off the board kind of play, but that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good look. Just follow the trend. It's your friend.
Yeah.
The one thing I was digging into was stats, defensive stats for the Giants. Receiving, I mean, the corners have been playing out of their minds, but our rushing defense is horrible. Last week we allowed 8 yards per carry to Baltimore. Who let's not have a mistake here. It's Baltimore. They do, that's their game. They'll run you down all the way to the end zone,
Sure.
but they suck against the run. And Jacksonville has 2 really good running backs in James Robinson and Travis Etienne. So if they do go run heavy, I do think they'll find some success. I do like the Jacksonville -3 just as a pure spread pick here. Barkley touchdown is definitely going to be on the board, but it just depends on how juiced it is. What is it at right now? Because I know we have different markets, and I would rather go off of the general public market.
Well, maybe it's not up here yet. We may not
Not
have it. We may not have it.
okay.
I don't have it on.
It's probably going to be somewhere around the -130, 140. That's usually what it's at.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So that if you can get at a better number live, like after the first quarter, if he doesn't score anything, I would take it then. But just sticking to the Jacksonville -3 here, I can't really talk you out of the Giants side either, just because they've been looking really good defensively. Total wise, I don't really like the under. I'm leaning towards the over here, but not with too much conviction. I think this is probably like a 27-24 kind of game.
Okay.
But yeah, any other thoughts on this game, Lou?
No, sir. We can
Cool.
move on. Oh,
Next, we
boy.
got Lions Cowboys.
Okay.
Or we could go to
No,
whichever
no.
one.
Nope. We'll go in your order. It's not a big deal. Here we go.
Cool. Lions at Cowboys. We had the Cowboys laying 7 here. The return of Dak Prescott. It looks like he's back in the lineup. But even if he is ruled out, I do think the Cowboys just run all over the Lions here and maybe even get a shutout like the Patriots did. I think it was 2 weeks ago. The Cowboys just have an elite defense here. Their defense is going to cause so much trouble. They're going to be able to get over their sacks total. They're going to be able to limit yardage, and the explosive offense of the Lions that we've seen in the first couple weeks, I don't think it's going to show up. I personally like Cowboys as a teaser piece. I don't know if I would be laying the 7 with them, but they're a high priority teaser piece for me this week. I also like the Cowboys total on the sacks over. I believe that's at 3.5. I think they'll get that pretty easily, maybe even in the first half, to be honest, because the offensive line of the Lions is not the best. CeeDee Lamb yards is a no-brainer for me as well. I just don't rate the corners of the Lions at all. They've on paper it looks like they should have improved this year from the corner and safety standpoint, but no, as the Lions do, they they just don't do that. They're not that good of a defensive team at all. So give me the Cowboys here as in the teaser spot. Give me their sacks over and CeeDee Lamb yards. Maybe even sprinkle on a prop parlay with the CeeDee's yards and his touchdown.
All right. I do not agree with one piece of this. I know Dallas has an elite defense, but I think Detroit's O line is okay. I realize this is an impossible matchup. I mean, but you look what happened when the Eagles went against Dallas. Eagles O-line is one of the best in the league. But statistically speaking, Detroit's isn't very far behind on just the O-line standpoint. Let me get this out of the way. Detroit, I'm leaning on the over on this, is where I'm going. Detroit's defense is a fucking disaster. They're awful. The one thing I worry about with Dak is he has the same injury that Russell Wilson had when he couldn't grip the ball. And Russell Wilson came back and they lost the next 3 games. And he didn't look right. So I have some pause with that. The thing is, even if his hand's not right, his legs aren't hurt. He's still gonna be able to attack on the ground. Pollard and Elliott are gonna get theirs, especially Pollard, who is just an absolute animal. And they're also proving that it doesn't seem to matter who the hell they throw in at tight end. They just take any like fat white dude they have and plug him in at tight end. The dude gets 6 catches for 80 yards. Like it just doesn't matter. Like Dalton Schultz was there. It's like Novacek, Blake Jarwin, like all these fucking dudes are the same guy. Just plug another guy in and he's dominant. Like, because they're never covered. Because you got to cover CD Lamb and you got to worry about Gallup and like they got to worry about Noah Brown. So get these dudes running 10, 15 yards downfield uncovered, rumbling down the field. So like when I see 28.5 for the team total is like I hate that number. But realistically, I think Dallas could put up 30 something here. And I do think Detroit can score. Look, man, they've been a really gutty second half team too. They almost beat Minnesota, who's 5-1. I know Minnesota's kind of like a fraud 5-1. I got it. But they were doing great in that game. And then Ross St. Brown got hurt. They did, aside, the Patriots game was just awful. But every other game, they've scored a lot of points in the second half of games. So I think Detroit can at least get 17, 20 points here. St. Brown's going to be healthier. DeAndre Swift should be back. Check the injury report before you bet it. It looks he's trending to start. The O-line's healthy. Hawkinson now is kind of like, look, now he's gotten more looks because of the St. Brown injury. Like, he's a very viable target. I think Detroit can score enough to get this total over the over. And even if they don't, I do think Dallas could put up 40 points in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a statement game from Dak, but yeah, give me the total here. I'll probably buy it down 48.5, but I do like that look the best. I don't want to take a side here. The 7 just kind of scares me. I know you're on it, but like, man, there's a backdoor cover in play here that really kind of scares me. I do agree with you as a teaser piece. This is excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent teaser.
I'm not going to be on the 7.
Yeah.
I will not be on the 7.
This is a perfect teaser spot.
Yeah, that's high priority teaser spot for me this week. But I have no other thoughts on this game. I think we covered it pretty well, targeting it in multiple angles. So go boys.
What's the next game you got?
Next we got Colts and at Titans.
Oof, brother.
Oh, brother. So a divisional matchup here. Ultimately, it led to me thinking this is a pass. The road dog in divisional games this year are the trend. So Colts are matching the trend as for a side. Road underdogs. But I don't think I'm going to be touching it. I think the Colts are the better team here. Their offense didn't look too bad last week. And the only thing that fears me off of it is that Titans are a little bit more well-rested coming off of a bye week. So looking at it from a standpoint of a total, I do think this goes over. I do think both offenses have a little bit more experience now with each other, and they've kind of molded their game and gotten used to the play calling because both teams have really not been performing all that well. We know the Tennessee Titans game plan is just run the ball until you can't. And the Colts, I don't think they have Jonathan Taylor back this week, but
he's trending. Both of them are trending toward possibly starting.
Okay, so if the Colts do have Taylor back, that's even
Hines is probable at this point.
Okay, so that gives me more confidence in the over here. I do like that, and just thinking about it from a matchup standpoint, the Titans haven't been the best when it comes to stopping the run. Neither have the Colts, but both of their receiving defense, their corners and safeties have been playing pretty decent. But yeah, just over for me here. I don't even like any of the props, to be honest.
I'm laying off this game completely. I should mention this does have one of our new favorite players this year, and it was got Alec Pierce.
Oh yeah.
Pierce beasting lately, man. I actually looked at that. I'm like, man, do I really want to take a poke on a Pierce touchdown prop? Because he's been killing it. And he's always wide open. I mean, like, they have to deal with Pittman. Like, he's getting a lot of good looks. But ultimately, like, I'm with you. I kind of feel like, and I think the over can get there with just the ground game, too. I mean, even without Taylor, Deion Jackson looked like an animal, man.
Yeah.
But, like, ultimately, I can't bet this game because the greatest player in the NFL, that being Racey McMath, will not be playing. And I don't know if you know Aaron Watershow, Top Cakey on Twitter, but he's a big Titans fan. And every time he posts, I just annihilate him. Like, well, where's Racey McMath, dude? And Racey McMath isn't that good, allegedly, but I'm pretty sure he would be the greatest receiver in the NFL. So this is a total pass spot for me. If you have to bet, I mean, if you have to take a side for the show's sake, I would say the Colts. Take the 2.5. I mean, this line's begging you to take Tennessee. There's actually some money going in on Tennessee right now. But give me the 2.5 on the Colts in a weird, it's a revenge spot too.
Yeah.
I mean, also the second half of that game, and Tennessee was up what? Was it 17-0 at the half, or was it 24-7? I mean, it was bad. 17-point lead. And the Colts almost won the game. So I think this is a revenge spot. I think the Colts are getting a little bit of weird momentum right now. They're hard to bet on this year. I did have them against Kansas City. I went against the eye test, and I think you might have been on the other side of that. And that game made, even winning that one was like, felt dirty. Like, it
Yeah.
made no sense how I won that bet. But I'm like, oh man, there's just this public side. There's a couple public sides we're going to talk about that I'm fading this week too. But yeah, just I don't want nothing to do with this one. There's better games in the slate for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And
Next we have.
you just got a second goal.
Oh, thank you for the freaking let's go.
Yeah.
Is it 2-0 or 1-1?
2-0.
Oh wow. Sick.
See if
All right. Even more hyped, more
and,
energy.
and the best is one of them's an own goal. So really, like, you got like a gift.
Una más. Una más.
All right, what do we got next?
Next, we got Falcons at Bengals. I know
There
we
we go.
talked about this one a little bit earlier. Why don't you lead us off?
I am all on this total. I love the over here. Cincinnati's defense sucks. Atlanta's defense sucks. Atlanta has, no matter who the hell's in the lineup, their rushing attack has been so good this year. They're basically, like I said before the show, they're basically like Georgia Tech. Like, they're running this weird Georgia Tech scheme, but with an actual receiver and a tight end with London and Pitts. So you have to account for somebody's going to be open in the way they run these schemes. On the flip side of it, Cincinnati, like, they're so hard to trust this year. Their O-line is bad. And that's the one thing that always makes me nervous about taking them in an over. But Atlanta has the second lowest blitz rate in the NFL. So they're only going to be sending 4 guys every time. Cincinnati, as patchwork as their O-line is, I think they can hold up here. And you give Burrow a few seconds, like, and this is my guy, T motherfucking Higgins, is going to have a massive game. And I'm telling you this right now, all the props on T Higgins. He's healthy again. The over, touchdown. I'm going to bet him to have more than 1 touchdown. I love T Higgins in this game. But the over for me, a lot of people are on Cincinnati this week. I know Atlanta's 6-0 against the number this year. Everything points to Cincy covering. I just can't get there. But I will say that once Atlanta doesn't cover, I'll be betting against Atlanta probably every single week. Like, once that trend ends, I'm going to, like, completely go against them. But I love the total here. I think that total could hit the third quarter. I honest to God believe since he's going to do whatever the hell they want to him, except Joe Mixon, who seems to suck all of a sudden this year. But they can throw. I mean, Burrow's going to have all goddamn day for once this season to just do what he wants. Also, should note, I know it's in Cincinnati and it might be a little windy, but McPherson is like lights out there, and he might be good for 9 of your point. I mean, the dude can hit from like 60 in that stadium. So, and Crew's not bad either, but like McPherson knows this turf and he bombs things. he can't hit a 30-yarder, but he hit 58-yarder, no problem. So I love the over here. I think it's probably like a 30-23 game, like 30-27. You're probably gonna be running that number, but give me the total all day.
I like it. I like where your head's at because the notes I had were there is some value on Cincinnati here. Um, Huge on the over. I'm probably going to be looking at the first half team total over for Cincinnati. I think they get over that pretty easily, whatever it is. I know we targeted the Bills game a couple weeks ago with similar manner with the first half team total over. I think this is a spot where the number is pretty similar and the situation is pretty similar, going against a very lackluster defense when it comes to both sides, the running and the receiving. Um, Burrow over 1.5 touchdowns is going to be pretty interesting. I'm looking to see
You see
over
that?
30. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hammer, hammer. Um,
I like that
Burrow
too.
over one
That
and a half.
105 is nice.
Yeah, very, very. I was expecting it to be 14.5.
I mean,
Just
you could play this too, but I think you just don't screw around there for 5 cents.
exactly, exactly. So over 13.5, I'm definitely going to be on that myself. And then another mid to high level teaser piece here with Cincinnati for me. I already targeted a two-team teaser, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but Cincinnati is definitely on the radar for a teaser spot. I love teasers in NFL. It's done me well the first 6 weeks. I'm going to keep going to it, and I'm looking for a Jamar Chase touchdown here as well. He gets the targets, he gets the long ball targets as well, and he can just go off for a 70-yard reception like it's nothing. T. Higgins receptions is going to be big just because they're going to be focusing on Jamar Chase.
T motherfucking Higgins.
Motherfucking Higgins. So I think they're going to be targeting Higgins a lot just because he's healthy and the man is like a LeBron James on the field. He's huge, unstoppable. So I think his receptions hit pretty quickly as well. So give me everything on the Cincinnati offensive side here.
I'm with you on that. I agree 100% that they're gonna stomp a mud hole. As good old
Beautiful.
JR would have said. All right, what do we got next?
Next, we got Browns at Ravens, which is an interesting one. The Ravens haven't really impressed me over the past couple weeks, although
I bet they haven't.
the motherfucking G-men, they haven't impressed me with being able to keep a lead even when they do go up. So that's also another scary thing if you're on the Ravens side. Very low level teaser spot here for the Browns, taking the points, but the Browns are also horrible. They can't stop anyone either. Ultimately, I've decided to pass on the game on a total standpoint and on a side. I think that Lamar Jackson might get his touchdown here, a rushing touchdown, but that's all I can really make up for this game.
Okay. I weirdly love this game.
Okay.
And I love 2 bets on it. I haven't done any props yet. I love the total because and it's for this reason. Baltimore, there's two things on Baltimore's defense they suck at. Stopping tight ends, and Njoku's been like just absolutely dominant this year. Njoku's having like a monster year. And they can't stop Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb just owns them. And
He owns everything.
I think it's like 98 yards a game. Like, I mean, he crushes them. I know, but specifically, like, he just gets up for them. Hunt hasn't had a great deal of success against them, but I'm not worried about him. So, and then Baltimore should be able to score at will here. Even without any receivers, Baltimore, they got Deshaun Jackson. I don't know if you saw that. They signed Deshaun.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know how much he's going to be in the game script.
He's going to get one catch for 80 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's like that's what that's what Deshaun Jackson does.
That's his stat line.
That's all he needs to do. So I love that. But as far as playing the game itself, look, man, everything you said about Baltimore makes perfect sense. And that is why you look at them first half before they can blow the game. I think Baltimore at home, I mean, really, they could go up like 21-10 in the first half, 21-7, something along those lines before the inevitable collapse. The -6.5, again, it's another game where you're setting yourself up for a backdoor cover, and I don't love it. and I don't trust them enough to tease them at this point. I just don't. Like, I mean, this isn't about Cleveland being bad. It's still a divisional game with a 7-point spread. I never like taking those kind of bets, but I do like the points here, and I think it's underrated. The weather seems like it's going to be pretty good. I don't think it, but it won't matter really in a game with
Mhm.
like all the rushing attempts. I mean, Cleveland's rushing defense is awful, and their second half defense is like almost legendarily bad at this point. So, look, what's going to give? Are the Ravens going to choke and do nothing, or is like what's going to be the bigger like taboo thing? The Ravens choking or Cleveland's defense just sucking so bad in the second half like it has every game. So I love this total. And this is another one where like honestly, like I have this at 51.5 in my like metrics, which I know seems like crazy for these two teams, but just the way like they match up like together, it's like a mirror match in a lot of ways. Like they can't do shit on defense, and they both run really well. And and just one more thing on this total is I had the total last week of Cleveland's game against New England, and it was 42.5. And people were like, well, but why is that going to hit? They both played a slower pace. They both just run the ball. It's like, right, but neither team can stop the run.
Yeah.
And that game flew over the total by like a mile, like 13 points over the total. Because when they did throw the ball, everybody's wide open because you're just running the ball you run the ball for 6 yards to carry, and then you're like, all right, I'm just going to throw to be different. And I forget who scored. I think the Hunter Henry touchdown. He was like the only guy on the screen. There was nobody on the screen. So I think like when they do throw, I mean, like, could Mark Andrews be wide open by 10 yards? It seems inconceivable, but he could be against this team. And if he's wide open by 10 yards, he's scoring. So yeah, man, I like the total. This is 3 overs. I don't really like doing that many totals, but
It
I, and
makes
I
sense.
but I love it here. So yeah, don't
Yeah, it
worry.
makes
I'm gonna make up for all these overs soon.
no, it makes perfect sense. I think both defenses are shaky, especially the Browns. When they're going up against the Ravens who love to run the ball, and they've sucked legendarily about that. So, yeah, I like where your mind's at. I do see this being a Baltimore get right spot where they win like maybe 38 to 10, but who
That'll
knows?
get me that total. That'll get me
That
there.
gets you the total exactly.
And they should win 38-10. They should win 38 to nothing
But
against
that doesn't get
Jacoby
you the
Brissett.
total.
No, I'm saying is, but we've been saying this for weeks that they should be just like the Bills game you forgive. And also I think going for the touchdown there was the right move, the way the Bills play. I think you get the touchdown, you say, screw it, you got to get in the end zone. Like, don't like I like that. I like the aggressiveness there. But the Giants game was just, look, man. I mean, obviously we're the Giants. We're very clearly the best team in the league, but like
Yeah.
the Giants had no business winning that game. The Ravens lost it. The Ravens lost the game. And then, like, by the way, I just love that Saquon falling on the 1 yard line. I know if you bet him, like, he already had a touchdown. So, like, didn't matter. But him falling on the one and just doing, like, I love that move, man. I hate it when I'm betting, but I love it as a fan. I'm like, yes, dude. Like, he fucking knows, dude. They should have
Smart.
let him just take the snaps and take the kneel downs after that.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got next?
Cool. Next, we got Panthers at Buccaneers.
Yeah. Can I start? Because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah. I
gonna
was gonna
say,
let you start there.
yeah, all I'm gonna say is nope. I won't even break this game down. It's so many points.
Oh, I'm glad we're on the same page.
I,
I have it in caps on my notes. Stay away.
I want no part of this game. I all I'll tell you is when you see a spread that's this big, you see a total that's small, all common sense tells you to, like, lay the points, like take the 11 with Carolina, but I can't trust PJ Walker, and I don't know who he's throwing to anymore since Robbie Anderson's gone. So, I mean, and Brady, like, I mean, if I was going to play anything, it would be the under, but I'm just going to not. I pass. I have no analysis. I pass completely on this game.
I don't blame you at all because same exact analysis here. Stay away. This is a game that's very tricky when you have a total this low and that, like Lou said, the spread that high. There's going to be something fishy. Either one team is going to get blown out of the yard, or it's going to be a very tight game, and the plus money, the plus 11 hits. So for me, Brady's been playing uninspired football. This is the season where okay, you can noticeably tell that he's regressing, and the father time is getting to him. and his receivers aren't doing him any help when they're dropping the ball at all. And then the offensive line is just not where it's supposed to be. So ultimately, stay away. We can move on to the next one.
Fun fact: Tom Brady is older than Lou.
Fun fact: Tom Brady
Is way
left his
older
wife
than Lou.
and kids to play
Yeah.
this shitty season of football.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, I mean, like, I feel so bad for Tom Brady. He's only gonna have to, have sex with everybody.
Yeah,
Tough
anybody
life.
he wants.
What's not is Washington next? Like, I don't know where everyone clock
Packers at
games.
Commanders, yeah.
Sorry. By the way, 2 times this year, I've heard people on the air call them the Redskins,
The
and then
Redskins!
immediately get corrected. They're like, "The Commanders?" The other guy's like, "Yes." I think I heard it in Red Zone. He goes, "Yes, the Commanders." I'm like, "Okay." So even they know it's
Mhm.
why'd they change the name from the football team, dude? That was a great name. Once you got used to it, it was like, all right, this is kind of
I
retro.
bet you some people are like, "Football? Okay, is it soccer?"
What name makes more sense to you? The Commanders or the Guardians?
Um,
You know I'm gonna like try to throw you off the rails at some point in the show, but
I kinda like the Guardians more than the Commanders.
I mean they're both so bad, but like
They're both horrible, but I kinda like the sound of the Guardians.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with like Cleveland. I guess the Commanders sort of does, but it's such a bad name. Guardians is a better name, like in a vacuum.
I mean, what does the Falcons have to do with Atlanta?
But they've always been but it's just a generic name. It's like a generic
St.
bird. It's
Louis
a bird.
Rams.
It's a bird, man. Like all these teams take birds. All right, sorry for that.
No, you're good. I like this.
Go ahead. You want to start this one?
Sure. We have the return of the legend Taylor Heineke
I
for the
do.
Commanders,
I do like me some Taylor Heineke.
who is an upgrade on Carson Wentz no matter what who tells me what. It's not even a debate here. Taylor Heineke has experience 2 years. He was a starter last season, and he proved that he could sling the ball and he can run. He's young and he's dynamic, and he knows his favorite target, Terry McLaurin's gonna be out there somewhere, so he's gonna throw the ball to him. So I kind of like the Taylor Heineke passing yards over here, and I do like Terry McLaurin's yards over because last year it's like first down and freaking McLaurin, second down and McLaurin, third down and McLaurin. He's just going to McLaurin because he knows that's the person he can trust. On a side here, I can't really trust either of the teams. The Packers have looked horrible, losing to the Jets and the G-men, both New York teams who they were both underdogs by quite a bit in both those games against the Packers. One in London, I can understand maybe the travel situation, but one at Lambeau, never a good look. So I can never back the Packers in this matchup. Commanders, the line was initially, I believe, at 5.5, it's down to 4.5 now, so they've been getting some money. I do like them in this spot, but not enough for me to get to the window. The total sitting at 41. I lean towards the over here. I'm not going to say that the Commanders are going to stop Aaron Rodgers from throwing dimes, and their defensive line is not all that great either. So part of me thinks that the Packers get to the anywhere from 21 at least to 28 point total for themselves, and then the Commanders, I think they can put up points with Heineke. So I think this total is set a little bit low. So I like the over at 41, and passing touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers is being discounted at a ridiculously low rate at over 1.5 for minus 120. So I kind of like that line a lot. So I'll probably be taking that for a unit. What about you, Lou?
I don't know if I'm gonna bet it, but I like Washington so much here. I mean, I'm with you. I like Heineke. I think he's exciting. He's better. He's definitely an upgrade. He does make mistakes, and Green Bay's defense has been like pretty decent. I mean, Green Bay's defense is the reason they conceded all these points last week to the Jets. The block punt, like being on the field for 48 minutes because Rodgers couldn't do anything. I like their defense. It's played really well, but I think Robinson is just going to get more and more work in the backfield for Washington. Him and Gibson are nice. That's a nice combo. And Gibson's a good receiver, too. Like, he's good out of the backfield as a receiver. I think McLaurin is, I mean, he's so good, dude. He's so So good. I don't know if Brown's still injured for them. I know he didn't play last week.
Brown.
The guy that killed me with all those fucking touchdown catches when I had a prop on McLaurin. Like, what's his
Well,
name?
I can't think of his name.
Hold on. He's like their he had like a bunch of touchdowns. Diami Brown.
Oh, Dynamite.
Yeah. So he I just needed McLaurin to catch one in. I think Heineke's gonna do his job. And look, I know it's the Bears. Like, I get it. But the Commanders' defense was really good against Justin Fields. Like, they were good in the red zone. The Bears moved the ball a lot and they shot themselves in the foot. And I understand a lot of this. But they got to Fields a lot. Fields made a couple of really crazy long plays in that game.
Yeah.
Like, the Bears weren't driving 5 yards at a time. They got a couple of big plays and then they got stopped. And the thing is look at Green Bay's offense right now. Aaron Jones not having a great year. He's still good. He's not having a great year. Dylan is a great change of pace back. But who's he throwing to? Tunyon is, look, he's okay.
Bunyan?
Cobb's out, right? Cobb's got to be out he might be out for the year. Christian Watson, I believe, is still out. And even if he plays, he's not going to be 100%. And then you got Romeo Dobbs, who, he's nice, but he's still a rookie. He's not and he's got a
He's
fumble
nice.
problem. He's had some yeah, but he's still a rookie, and he's had some fumbles, some key fumbles this year. And then Lazard, but you could just key in on him. I think this could be I think Washington can win outright. It wouldn't shock me. But you're gonna give me the 4.5. I'm gonna take it here. I mean, it just screams you like the over. I don't know, it's close, but 23-20 either way. I feel like it's a field goal game either way. So I don't know that I'm betting it for the sake of the show, though. I'll take the points with the Commanders here.
Fair enough.
But this is an ugly game. Let's
It
make
is.
this very clear. It's an ugly game, and I don't want to root for somebody in the division, but I do like Heineke. He's kind of fun to watch.
He is. He is. Cool. Next we have Jets at Broncos.
Oh
We've
boy.
been saved for not having the Broncos on a primetime game this week. God has answered our prayers, and we don't have to put our eyes through the pain anymore. They currently have it at Broncos -1. Lou, why don't you lead us off with this one?
Well, I took a lot of overs at 1 o'clock. I don't care what this number is. I'm taking the under 38.5 here. Denver can't score. Russell Wilson now, I don't know what he's dealing with. He's got several injuries
He might
now.
be out.
Okay, so who's their backup? Rippon? Brett Rippon? Stop. Rippon wasn't even that great at Boise State. Rippon's not that great.
Ripping the vape.
I mean, they can't run the ball. There's some issues with Gordon now where he's yelling at his coach. Nathaniel Hackett is just, I mean, any 14-year-old who plays Madden would coach this team better.
I'm surprised he still has a job.
It's almost like pride at this point. They're like, no, we'll show you. We'll try, but he won't. So it's amazing too, because their skill position guys are pretty good. I mean, Chudy's good. Sutton's good. I think KJ Hamler's good as a third option as a deep threat, but they can't get the ball to him. Their O-line's not that great. What's up, Wheezy?
What's good, Wheezy?
Their O-line's not that great. They can't run the ball. They can't do anything short yardage. This team is 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. I think they're at 30%. I mean, they're brutal. The goal line, they're even, I mean, I don't even know what more I have to say about how bad they've been in the red zone. But yet, all these games, they're never getting beaten up bad. And they've had 2 games that went to overtime that didn't even come close to 38.5. Meanwhile, you have the Jets. Okay, they scored a lot of points on paper last week, but one's a punt block, and a couple of them were just Green Bay, just making mistakes and giving them good field position. I'm not saying Denver can't do that, but Denver, for the most part, the only interceptions they're throwing are in the end zone. They're not really getting picked at their own 20. They're making stupid, mistakes later in the game. So I think this game is just 38.5. You could give them 8 quarters and it may not hit. But I like that, the first half under 19, look, I don't want to clench my butthole the whole game for a special teams touchdown to bite me in the ass. But under 19, man, I mean, Jets last week was 3-3 at the half against Green Bay, whose offense, even though it's struggling, is still miles above what Denver's is. And that was the Jets on the road. Denver's defense has really been lights out. I mean, look, man, Braxton Barrios he's fine. Like Brees Hall looks like he's all right. Carter kind of regressing. The Jets just, and I'm not a Zach Wilson guy at all. Like they're winning. He threw for like 100 yards last week, so he's whatever he is. So I don't think the Jets are gonna be able to do much here. So give me the under 19 first half, and then I'm gonna take under 38.5 probably for the game too. But yeah, this is just, I mean, you
Or
can't take a side, and don't bet the Jets. Whatever you do, don't bet the Jets, and I'll tell you why. They are going to be the most public side bet this week.
100%.
So don't bet them, because this is where like the rig shit happens. And Brett Rippon like pulls off some, or McManus, the best player on my fantasy team in our league, Brandon McManus, who like I'm trying to trade him for a quarterback. Nobody will take him, but like maybe he has 6 field goals and they win 18-14. Like would that surprise you if that was the final score? 15-14 with 5 field goals?
Not at
No.
all.
So give me the unders, and that's all I got to say. You can't play a player prop here, I don't think. Maybe you can. I
Yes, I can.
cannot. Oh yeah, I'm ready to hear it.
McManus over 1.5 field goals.
Yes, that's the best prop.
Let's go. Yeah, so the under actually moved down from 40.5 to 38.5. So you can kind of see where the public think this is going.
Yeah, it's still not low enough. I mean,
It's not. It's not. I think both of these teams are horrible offensively. And the Broncos defense has been I just feel bad for them because they're probably kicking themselves like, what did we think we were getting with Russell Wilson?
right.
It- their best pickup this year is Browning. That dude Browning is all over the place, and to me is like a dark horse for defensive player of the year because he's everywhere, and he's the one that's getting all these sacks and interceptions and returns and pressures. To be honest, like I don't think I've heard anyone's name on the defense more than I've heard Browning all season. This is every team.
I
So
don't think anybody's winning defensive player of the year for the next 12 years except for a certain guy in Dallas.
Michael Parsons. Yeah, I know. He's good. I can't deny it. But yeah, I have nothing much to say about this one except for the under and then the over 1.5 field goals for McManus.
Love it. I love that bet. I have to take that bet now.
100%.
He's their whole offense.
Pretty much.
I'll
They
have
hit
to.
Russell Wilson's
I wrote it down. I can't wait. That'll probably come out tomorrow on DraftKings book.
Next, we have Texans at Raiders. So this is the second high priority teaser piece that I was talking about earlier, and it's going to be the Raiders. I like the Raiders everything here on the offense. I think this is the game where they really show out. I think they can cover the spread, but do I want to trust the Raiders? Not really. I like their team total over 26.5. I like their first half team total over. Devontae Adams is getting a touchdown, if not 2. I like Josh Jacobs rushing yards because Texans cannot stop the rush for $1 million per stop. And yeah, high priority teaser piece here for the Raiders, in my opinion. I think them teased with the Cowboys is going to be my biggest bet of the week. What do you think, Lou?
The only thing I want to bet right now at the moment, because I can't trust either team right now. And I think you love the Raiders. You secretly just love this team. I feel like
I
you
fucking hate their fans, though.
but I feel like you like them just from a betting standpoint. Like that's like, and I'm like that too with like Newcastle. Like I just before I know what I'm doing, I'm like, oh look, I put them in my betting sheet.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm betting this team. Like I'm like, oh, yep, there they are.
Because they have all the weapons. It's just use them.
In a video game, they would be like 13-3, and it would be amazing. I am all over this Josh Jacobs props. The guy has looked. Houston's run defense is bad, but Josh Jacobs has looked like an absolute animal this year. I don't want to play his receiving props. I realize that he's there. He can get a couple of catches in the backfield, but if the game script plays out where they're just going to blow this team out, and I'm with you. I think Raiders could very easily win this game by 28 points. If that's the game script, the whole second half is Josh Jacobs just getting 5-6 yards a carry. He's going to get over 100 yards. I like it so much I'd ladder it. Like whatever the number is, I don't have a number right now. But whatever it is, I would try to take like You know, it's like over whatever. I'd keep going up and up and up at whatever plus odds you can get. I think he could have the biggest game of his career. He could get 150 yards. He could get 200 yards if that's what they want to do in the second half.
I agree. I
And he
agree.
doesn't get subbed out often. Like he's 80 some percent of the share in the backfield, which is great. Like,
Yeah, who else are they gonna put in? They got Kenny and Drake, and that's it.
well, I'm like, I mean, look, maybe this is me just like coming from like the DraftKings, like a DFS background, but
Wait, no, not Kenny and Drake. My bad.
I'm trying to avoid, like, I try to avoid the guys that only get like Robinson and Gibson right now in Washington. Like, I don't want to ever play one guy because they get about 50% share each. Like anything above 65%, I think you're happy with. So I like Jacobs is just getting like he gets like 20 some carries a game. Like he's if the script allows it, you know, like when they trail, like they got to get away from it a little bit. But I think this is a smash spot for them. I do love them in a teaser as well. So I may add
Music to
that
my
to it.
ears. Yeah,
I may
music.
actually I tease totals as well. Like I don't really care. I mean, look, honestly, I may tease that fucking Denver game. Take the under. Like I love the under
Mhm.
as it is. I may as well just fucking throw it in there and be like, they're not scoring 45 points. They're not scoring
Yeah,
45 points the
right.
rest of the season. Like I'm not worried about that one. All right, what's next? We got two more 4 o'clock games.
Yeah, so we have Chiefs at Niners. Complete pass for me. I'm just gonna leave the mic to you. I don't like anything here. It's a very weird game.
Yeah, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. It just it's such a trap, isn't it?
I think it's a
It's
trap, and I
such a
think the
trap.
Niners
Like
win outright.
and like there's so many. It was still a lot of. We don't know if Armstead's out yet. We don't know if Bose is out. Like we don't know. Nobody's been ruled out. Nobody's been ruled like
Bosa's projecting to being probable.
okay, like projecting to be probable is a perfect way to describe it. Like we don't really know. And even if they do play, they're not going to be 100%. They're probably going to be rotated heavily. I mean, everything points to Kansas City just stomping them. But fun fact, Kansas City's ATS record, you would think that Mahomes' ATS record after a loss would be like 13-1 or some shit, right? You'd
Mhm,
think that. It's not. It's 8-6. Now, I think a big part of it may be, and I don't have all the numbers, some of these spreads could be higher than like this isn't like fuck a team that's like -3 every week. This is a team that's like -10 a lot of those games the last few
mhm.
years. So it's possible. I can't say that for sure. But
Yeah.
Kansas City seems like they're not there's something wrong with them this year. And it's Tyreek. And what's wrong with them is that Tyreek Hill's not there. That they haven't
Yeah.
filled like MVS is okay. Schuster's I never really thought that highly of him in Pittsburgh anyway. Kelsey's still like an animal, and they can't figure out their backfield. Like I think Pacheco's decent, but he's a rookie and he'll get a lot of playing time. Edwards-Helaire is okay. Like who's the other guy whose name I can't think of? McKissick,
McKinnon.
McKinnon. I think McKinnon's the best of all of them, but they don't really use him that much. They use him out of the passing game, and he's fine. He'll get you like 10 yards, but there's something wrong with that team, and I don't know that Kansas City's going to stop Debo. They can stop Kittle. They defend tight ends really well. I don't know if they can stop Debo from doing whatever the hell he wants. And I think Jeff Wilson might have like a weirdly huge game here.
I think so too.
So for the sake of the show, I would say go against the eye test and pick the Niners to cover. But it screams trap. And Kansas City was -3. So clearly people are just on this Niners side for like, they know, man.
They're crazy fans. I'm
No,
telling
but I
you,
like it's
the
weird that
Niners are
I'm
a
surprised this line didn't
superhero.
go to like 4. Like I'm shocked. I'm actually shocked it's going the way it's going.
The Niners are just they're like a superhero when they're at home. Their fans just give them a jolt of energy, and they play really well at home, but when they're away is when you're pretty wary about them.
It's
So
weird.
that might be it. Because at home, they look unstoppable.
All right,
But yeah, anyways,
I moved on to the last one at the 4
yeah,
o'clock window.
Seahawks, Chargers. Only thing that stood out to me was Chargers team total first half over. I think it's set at 13.5 right now. See, it's a Seahawks defense at the end of the day. It's horrible.
And Keenan Allen will be back.
Not confirmed yet, but yes.
It sure looks like he will be back. So they will have their full arsenal of weapons. They still can't stop the run. Chargers are not. Their defense has been a very big letdown. After they looked so good against the Raiders week one, their defense, and they've been hurt. I get it, but we're talking about Murdoff and his producer is the fight we're
We're
talking
talking
about.
about the Seahawks Chargers fight, Pat.
So so here's the thing. I'm with you on all the Chargers overs. Their offense has looked so bad these last few weeks. Like it really has. But okay, you played Denver. So I can kind of forgive that.
And their biggest weapon was covered by Pat Surtain, so you can't really blame it.
Right. So like they still won the game. Hopkins is out. I don't really look, he's good play and he's a good kicker. I'm not really worried about that because I don't think field goals are going to come into play a lot this game. I think the Chargers could smash them. I like the first half Chargers line. I will say this: the Chargers were -7, so money's coming in on Seattle. I
Mhm.
believe they were. I could be wrong. If I am wrong here, let me
I
add it
haven't
up right
checked it
now.
early, so
Seattle
I
Chargers
might.
opened at 7.5, and it's come
Oh,
down to
wow.
5.5. So whatever the first half is, it's probably going to be like 3. I'm kind of good with that. Ugh, you fucking assholes. 3.5. Of course it is. And that 24.5 is like right where like I don't want to bet that either. But I think the Chargers can score a lot, but I've been just playing Seattle overs all year. Now, look, this killed me last week. It's the first, I mean, like, it's like my biggest bet of the season, so it was bad. I'm lucky I won everything. I won a lot of other games, but that killed me. But what were we talking about? Was it Cincinnati? Was that the game that me, you, and Gordo were like, I'm like, because I was at FanFest. I was in Philly doing the soccer, like the EPL thing, and I'm just
Mhm.
tracking scores, and I'm like, fucking Bengals. And then, like, I think, like, next message, I'm like, never in doubt.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
the
Dude,
score
I
like
was
a
so
minute
disappointed,
left.
and
Is
then I
there
was
like
like,
2 minutes
"Never
left?
mind."
I'm like, if they got a field goal, you're losing. I'm like, God damn it. And then like I ate it, and then the Colts game was like the exact opposite. Where I'm like, all right, just hold them on the field goal, and I'm gonna win. It's like, God damn it! Like Pierce is wide open. Fucking Pierce killed me again. Uh, but I like the over again, man. The Seattle games, dude. Their offense is like weirdly good. Geno Smith is like,
Yeah, I don't know what happened last week. They just couldn't convert it into the end zone.
I mean, Kenneth Walker is. I like him as a running back. I mean, no Rashad Penny, like
He's
kind
a
of hurt.
nice power runner.
He's a nice power runner, but he's also on a team where like they just want to throw the ball a lot. And you still have Lockett. You still, I know Fant's a pretty good tight end. Like they have weapons. Like this team certainly has weapons. And can they get 21 points against a defense that I think is underperformed? Yes. Can the Chargers score 50 in this game? Probably. They could probably score every drive. So I think this is the highest total of the week, if I'm not mistaken. And I love it. So 4 overs this week. That's way more than usual for me, but these are numbers in soccer. It's not, but in football, it's in American, you know, the different kind of football. I just think I got to keep riding overs in Seattle games and Atlanta games until they show me otherwise. You know,
Can't disagree at all.
they're just so bad on defense, and then they're so fun on
Total.
offense. Like they're really fun to watch. They're fun teams. Like, why can't Seattle play Arizona?
Every week?
Yeah, just
So something like last week doesn't happen.
just give me like. Well, I know it happens, but yeah, that's all I got on that one. If you want to move on to the night game here.
Yep, cool. So night game, Steelers at Dolphins. A lot of moving pieces here. Tua's back in. We don't know how how healthy he is, like how many hits he can take, if he can take any at all. And then for the Steelers, we don't know if Pickett's playing or if it's going to be back to Mitchell Trubisky because I'm not sure if he's cleared concussion.
Trub shitty.
Trubshitty,
Trub
exactly. Yeah,
shitty.
so does he clear concussion protocol and start, or is it Trubisky? That's also a moving piece there. I also just don't like any of these teams, and in no world, I mean, maybe if Tua's healthy and he didn't have that concussion, maybe the -7 might be valid, I would say, but I personally don't like it. I think the under might be a play here, um, but overall, I'm just probably going to be staying away. I don't like anything here. It's just way too many moving pieces, and you don't know what to expect. Even though they do have the Kenny Pickett props up right now. that's still not cleared. He hasn't cleared the concussion protocol yet, so we don't know if he's playing.
So Sunday night at 7 p.m., the Astros are playing the Yankees, and I will be watching that instead of this game and hoping that the Astros sweep the Yankees because that's who I bet on in DraftKings to win the World Series, and then I can hedge my bet out with whoever comes out of the National League. It'll hopefully be 3-0 at that point in the series. I hate not betting the night game, man. I hate
Yeah,
it. But like, and why is Pittsburgh such a big dog here? Like, look, Tampa stinks. Pitt was a massive dog, and they won the game outright. I mean, even with Tua and Pittsburgh's injuries, they're finding ways to make the games ugly. And again, I talked about this in an earlier game. You see a total this low and you see a spread this big, everything tells you take the dog to cover. So I would lean Pittsburgh, but then again, Pittsburgh stinks. Like, so like I don't know what to do. So I don't want to be part of this one either. I'm saying this now, like I'll probably do some DraftKings lineups and but like even a touchdown prop, like you can't even bank on Waddle and Hill anymore because we don't know what kind of offense they're running. Like we just don't know. Like if you're going to play anybody in this game as a prop, you're probably better off taking Raheem Mostert, TD, because his usage has gone up and up and up every week, and he looks like he's rounding into form. He looks like he did when he was on the Niners. Like he's looking really good now. In a
mhm.
game where even if Tua plays, they're probably going to limit him. Like they want to limit his exposure getting hit. I could see them going run heavy, and Mostert could have a good game. Pittsburgh's defense is banged up. So
Yeah, injuries
look
like
at his
Tua's
props.
they cause PTSD, and
I mean,
I'm gonna
I'll be tweet
sleep
like
on this
I
too.
know like you and I will both be tweeting out like what we ended up settling with like once we get to Sunday morning. So like I don't have a lot of these player props yet. But I would look at Mostert and if it's reasonable, and look, his numbers have been pretty low. You give me anything under 60, I'm in. Well, I think it'll be run heavy attack.
Yeah,
So
fair enough. And the Steelers are still banged up on the defense, so that does look like a solid piece there. But I don't
and
think I'll
then
be putting money on it myself. And then we have the legendary Monday night game where, oh man, I have some feelings about this one.
go ahead. This is Weezy's team. This is
Yeah, and
Weezy's
of
team.
course, Breezy's not
The
gonna like this commentary a lot. So, Patriots via demolition. That's my look. The legend Bailey Zappi is gonna go off for 1,000,000 yards if he wants to, and so yeah, give me his yards over. That's one thing.
he may not play.
He may not, but even if it's Mac Jones, upgrade. Not
Right.
either or. So you're gonna get the quarterback passing yards over for me. I like the Patriots sacks over. Give me the Patriots defensive touchdown and defensive last touchdown. So I mean, last touchdown for the defense.
Ooh. Ooh, I love
I
that.
love it in this spot. The Patriots defense, I think, is the third highest ranked defense in the NFL right now, and man, they're just so good. That's the one thing about the Patriots. You can rely on their defense, and you can rely on them for takeaways too. So if the game script is going according to what I'm thinking is going to go, they're going to be down. The Bears are going to be down big in fourth quarter. Justin Fields is going to try and chuck something. He's going to get an interception, or he's going to get sacked and fumbles. Just run it into the end zone and done. So last touchdown for the defense. I really think that's a possibility here, and I think it's at a nice number when it comes out.
Oh, it's going to be 20-1 if not more.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am with you 100%. I think the Patriots absolutely demolished this team. If you go back and watch the Bears Washington game, if Wentz had any talent, if he didn't have a noodle arm, he sidearmed about 7 or 8, not just wide open receivers, but wide open receivers in space down the sideline where they could have probably gone for 40, 50 yards. And he just short arms them. The Bears just don't like they weren't defending any of this. Like this 12-7 game is like it's such an anomaly the way the score looked. You'd think it was good defense. It's Wentz. I thought the Skins played decent defense. Or sorry,
The
the
Skins?
Commanders. Sorry, the Commanders
How
played
dare
decent
you?
defense. I'm old. It's the habits, die hard here. Uh, But, like, the Bears didn't play good defense. These dudes were wide open. And look, I'm not talking like McLaurin. I'm talking like their tight end. Like, just wide open. Like, John Bates could have run for, like, 30 yards, and he doesn't. So, I don't think the Bears' defense is all that good, and part of it's probably the fact they're on the field for 50 minutes a game. I can't imagine that's a lot of fun. I think the Patriots just absolutely smash them. I think, you're talking about, like, all these defensive props. I think Ramondre Stevenson probably has a massive game. I'm hesitant to bet rushing props with the Patriots because Belichick's just, I respect him as a coach. I hate him as a gambler with the players because the guy could, like, you know,
We have
I
a
don't
new
know.
prospect off of the second string. He's
He
looking
could
pretty
he,
good.
he could like the Ramondre Stevenson could like fart in the locker room and he's like, "You're benched." Like, I mean, you just don't know. Like, he's weird and flighty like that. Like, he could fumble early and then never see the field again. Like, so I'm really hesitant to ever do like stat props with the Patriots, but I think they win this game. I mean, I don't think this is competitive at all.
Mm-mm.
So
Yeah, no, I agree on all fronts there. But yeah, that's the that's the end of the show. That's the final game of the week. Anything you want to tell the people, Lou, for first episode? I think we did pretty well. Woo!
somehow this is a shorter show than my show with Monk every week, which is crazy. Like, I don't know how, like, we're an hour 15 minutes every single week. It could be 8 fights, it could be 16. It doesn't seem to matter. Just 115. It's just how it goes. So I'm happy that we got this done in a little over an hour. See how it goes when the bye weeks come in. Nah, thanks for tuning in, guys. And Wiz and I are both transparent about like what we're picking. So like you'll both see us tweeting about
Hmm.
what our picks are. Maybe you and I could put together like a for the people parlay, things we agree on.
All right, yeah, let's do that.
Maybe we can.
So,
Oh, you want to do it right now? Okay. Well,
honestly, let's put something together. We'll do 4 legs, 2 each.
okay. Two most
Are we doing
confident.
props only, or are we doing props and sides and totals?
Just the two best bets, dude.
Two. Okay, 2 best bets. So for me, for one of the legs, I'm not gonna steal this for you. Never mind. Never mind. But give me the Raiders first half team total over,
Okay.
and for my second leg, give me the Chargers team total first half. I'm gonna keep it simple here.
Okay. The Cincinnati over all day for me, and the Jets under all day for me.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna steal the Jets under from you.
Those are my two absolute favorite plays on the board that aren't like props or anything like that. But I mean, it's scary to bet a 38.5, and I understand it, but like, my God, have you seen this team? Like, have you seen this team? And if Russell Wilson is like 20%, he's still playing. They feel like they have to play him with how much they paid him. Like they do. So he could be out there with like a dialysis machine. And they're just gonna fucking wheel him out there and like tell him to throw it 20 yards, like for no reason.
Horrible,
So I
horrible.
mean, and Sutton will get his. Sutton will still get like 80 yards somehow, and not sniff the end zone and piss off me and John Kelly and whoever else bet him. You know. Oh, but that's all I got for props.
For fellas, thank you so much for tuning in. Everyone in the chat with the interactions, we appreciate it. We're going to be doing this, like I said, every week at 3:30 Eastern. So if you're interested in NFL bets and just overall commentary, you know where to come. Uncle
Yeah,
Lou and Papa Wiz, we're here to help.
and comedy.
And comedy. How can we forget? All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Peace. And this is the